Welcome to this yoga class here on Comeback Yoga's channel. My name is Tonya, and it truly is an honor to have you here today. We're going to be going into some all levels yoga today. So if you have some experience, great. If you don't have experience, great. That's okay too, because I'm going to be showing some variations of different postures. So you'll need a yoga mat. And if you have yoga blocks, great. You don't need them today, though. Really, it's just nice to maybe make our arms longer. Literally, that's what a yoga block does, is it makes our arms longer. It can even make our legs longer if we're standing on them, but you can use it to make your arms longer. All right, that way it gets us closer to the floor. All right, so we're here for 45 minutes. So shall we go ahead and get started? If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat and I'll check it out and see if I can answer those questions for you. So we're going to start on our back today. You can be on a blanket if you like. And maybe have something under your head if you like as well. So I'm starting with my knees bent, and you can be in any position you like. And we're just going to feel the floor, the surface underneath us, maybe even noticing parts of our body that are touching it, and notice how if there's any particular sensation that is present, maybe a little fatigue, maybe a little energy, maybe a little soreness, maybe a little tightness, maybe even some pain. Just notice the sensations that are immediately calling your attention and just notice them. And as described earlier in the reading, if you were here present for that, what naturally arises, and we don't think about it much really, is the presence of the opposite of that feeling. So if you notice pain, now notice where there may not be pain, like maybe it's even a finger, or maybe it's a big toe, or maybe it's your ear, but there's parts of you that are not experiencing pain. So if we take the notion of the opposite of whatever it is that was present. If it was fatigue, there may be part of us that has energy. And these present feelings or sensations, sometimes we have to do a little searching. So let's take just a couple of moments to just kind of try to become aware of that. And we really drop out of our head and notice in our body these sensations. And we'll take 2 more moments just to navigate sensation. Even if it's the opposite of the in breath and the out breath. One more moment here to notice. And again, maybe just focus on your breathing in and out. Good. So let's just go ahead now and moving from stillness to movement. So that's an opposite as well, right? So I'm going to just start to wiggle the fingers and maybe the toes, and maybe circling the wrists and turning your head side to side, just kind of moving parts of you that you'd like to. All right, and let's draw one knee in towards our chest. You can hold on to the back of your leg or the front of your shin, and maybe even lift your head and shoulders up. Get in an extra stretch there, and then coming back down. And then we'll extend the leg up to the ceiling, and you can either look at your toes or look beyond your toes to notice the ceiling or what's above you, maybe even picking out a color or a texture that you might notice. And then notice sensation that you're experiencing along your leg. So let's see if we notice anything towards our back, or maybe it's in our calf. Maybe it's higher up the leg. Maybe it's in our foot. And let's take 2 more breaths here just to notice sensation. All right, and placing that leg down, leg can be bent or straight. Take your other leg into your chest and maybe lift your head and shoulders up here. And coming on down. Send your legs straight up towards the ceiling. And again, doesn't have to be completely vertical, just to the point where you feel a little bit of sensation. Could be along the back of your leg, and just what is it that you notice. And you can change your focus to maybe your toes, to now the ceiling, and then the toes, and then to the ceiling, and then back to your toes. Or maybe you close your eyes. That's completely up to you. We'll take 2 more breaths here just to notice sensation. All right. And release those feet down to the floor, taking your knees a little bit wider than the hips, and just rock your knees side to side. If you like to, you can turn your head in the opposite direction of your knees and looking away from your knees, towards your knees, and then away again. And you can add even some arm movements if you want, just rotating your arms, just kind of moving through the elbows. Just don't try not to overthink it. Just kind of move. There's no right or wrong here. It's just, you're just moving your body. All right, wonderful. Let's roll to one side. It's really more of a crawl, right? Unless you're just taking up a lot of space in your environment, which is no problem, which is fine, right? And then just resting your head on that bottom arm, or if you'd like to have your head on a pillow or cushion, you can. And so let's just take a couple moments here, being on our side, about 3 breaths, just before we transition to um, more of an active practice. So we're working our way up to warming up the joints, to doing some standing postures. All right, let's bring it up to a tabletop position. And we're going to move into a pointer pose. Option is to be down onto your forearms if the wrists are bothering you. If you feel pain in the wrist, you can do this from tabletop. You're going to send one leg straight back, and you can do this again. Maybe you want to come up onto the hands. So it's really up to you. So lifting your leg up, and now bend your knee. Push your foot up to the ceiling and down. Push up and down for 3, 2, and 1. And then bring that knee down, taking your knees a little bit wider and moving your hips towards the heels for 3 breaths here. And let's just notice sensation on the ankles, the feet, and the knees. Maybe you'd rather come more upright to be more kind of a I call this the sitting dog. So these, we have happy puppy with the arms forward and the hips lifted, and then we have downward dog, and I call this sitting puppy. Okay. All right. I just made that up. Okay. Come back to tabletop and maybe just coming to the forearms, taking the other leg back and then bending that knee, push your foot up, down, up, down, up, down. 3, 2, and 1. All right. So the happy puppy, the arms are forward, and it's a big stretch in the upper body. If you're ready to move into downward dog, you could do so, moving those hips up towards the ceiling and creating a pyramid shape with your body. Pushing downward into those hands. If your hands are slippery, just notice that. Maybe you could even hold on to the sides of your mat, pull the hands forward, pushing down. That gives you a little bit more stability. And opening up the shoulders a little more. All right, wonderful. Walk your hands and feet together. So wherever you end up, that might be about the middle of the mat. Bend your knees and then look forward. Coming into like a little chair position here. As you look forward, just kind of getting your bearings, noticing what's on the wall in front of you, and then push against your legs to rise up to standing. And here we are. So now just take a moment to kind of get familiar with your surroundings. Notice what you notice and the wall in front of you. Maybe noticing a favorite object, color, texture. For me, I have a big window here. So I've got these curtains and they're kind of textured. So just noticing that texture and then the light that's coming through the window. Then I start to notice my feet. So if you'd like to rock back and forth a little bit onto those toes and then the heels, and just kind of waking up your legs here. I'm going to turn to face you. So just doing the same thing. We're just going to kind of rock back and forth on the toes and then the heels, on the toes and the heels. And then finding a place of stillness where you feel all of your foot, both feet maybe. And just kind of wiggle your toes a little bit here, just waking up those feet and ankles. And then let's start to roll around the ankle, moving through the hip. And let's go the other way, just warming up the lower body here. And let's go the other way, or the other side, I mean, other leg. And then changing direction. I'm not awake yet today. Okay. All right, wonderful. So now let's work up the upper body a little bit. So we're just going to kind of shake a little jostling, and move your legs a little here too, or just move your upper body. And just kind of wake up, just kind of jostling, shaking and out. If you want to make some sounds like I did. Okay. Shaking, maybe even your head and shoulders. Just waking up. And of course, you could do this a little longer if you wanted to. And so the knees are slightly bent. You feel the feet underneath you. And let's go ahead now and just kind of slow it down or whatever you like. If you want to stay here and keep doing this. Otherwise, now join me in finding stillness. So feeling that contrast and how now we're moving from the stillness or from the movement to stillness. And notice any residual effects. Sometimes there's a little bit of tingling, a little vibration in the body, maybe even a little bit of joy came in. For me, it created a little bit of energy. So now I feel really happy, but that might not be the case for you. So you just kind of notice. All right. Wonderful. How are we doing? All right, let's go ahead and come to the front of the mat and we'll move in through a sun salutation here. So, oftentimes it's used to start the day, sometimes it's used as a warm up. We've already warmed up a little bit, so now we're going to do the salutation. Okay, so your arms start at your side, your feet about hip distance apart. Turn those palms facing outward. With your next inhale, reach your arms up towards the ceiling. Feel a full whole length of your body. With your exhale, lower the hips back down into a thunderbolt position or chair. Reach out through the fingertips, lower the hips maybe a teeny bit more, and then exhale and tip forward over your legs, releasing down. Step one leg back with the heel coming down to the floor. Push downward into your legs, and you can bring yourself upright using the strength of your upper body and your hands. Push down into both feet. Bring those arms back out wide and up overhead. Maybe the palms facing one another or facing forward, whatever feels the best on your shoulders. Now let's bring the hands back down to the floor and look forward. Step that back foot in. Come up halfway. Your hands are on your knees or your legs for a half fold. Now fold all the way, knees bent slightly. Stepping your other leg back, the heel coming down. Bring yourself upright. Push down into those feet. Inhale, bring those arms up overhead. Track sensation through your whole body. Do you notice any strength coming through your whole body, through your lower body? What do you notice under your feet? Then bring your hands back down to the floor. Going to take those fingers out wide and sit back into a plank position. Option is to bring your knees down to the floor. Another option is to come back down onto those forearms. Now, take one or two more breaths here. So, starting to notice maybe some strength coming into the body, a little bit of effort, right? All right. Now, coming down to the knees and then coming down to your stomach. We'll come into a sphinx pose. Those arms are parallel and the palms pressing down. Lift your chest forward and up. And release all the way down to the floor, turning those elbows out. Release your head to the back of the hands. And just relax those legs, relax the upper body. 2 more breaths here. Breathing towards the abdomen, towards your belly button as you expand through there and then release. 2 more times, breathing in towards that belly button. And your belly pressing against the floor and release. And one more time. Inhale and exhale. Good. Okay, bringing those hands behind the shoulders. Press yourself up to a tabletop. And then we're going to repeat our pointer. So you can come down to your forearms again or send one leg back. And then going back, maybe you want to challenge yourself this time and bring your opposite arm forward. Now, that's harder to do when you're on your forearms, but you can give it a try. And let's lift up, down for 3, 2, and 1. Touch down, switch sides. Notice leg and arm going out in opposite directions, and then lift up, down, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great. Okay, hands are spread out wide, middle finger pointing forward, toes under. Let's lift those hips up for downward dog. Again, option is to keep the knees down to the floor, arms forward for a happy puppy, or if you like that, sitting puppy. Okay, walk your hands and feet together, coming into a forward fold. Bend your knees, lay your chest down onto your thighs. Maybe grab opposite elbows, and you can look forward, giving yourself a little bit of awareness of your surroundings. Now bring your hands to your legs and rise to standing. So here we are once again in our mountain position. Feet stable underneath us. Notice the full length of your body. Do a quick body scan and just notice what you notice. What's present? Is there warmth? Is there tingling? Is there radiance? Do you feel kind of like some vibration, some tingling? All right, turning those palms out. Let's repeat our sun salutation again. Bring those arms up overhead with an inhalation and then exhale, lower those hips back down into that thunderbolt position. Your knees are behind the toes. Now, this time we're going to change a little bit. You're going to place one hand, or both hands, I should say, on one thigh. Step that leg back, opposite leg back. Then bring it up. Here's your warrior one. Reach up. Okay. Notice what you notice. We'll stay here for an extra breath. So pushing down into those feet to feel how stable those legs are. What do you notice there? Great. All right. Bring your hands back to that bent knee. Step forward into your thunderbolt. Arms up and hips back. Take your hands to the other knee for stability and then step your leg back. Voila. Press down. Reach those arms up or out to the side, whatever you notice, whatever is more available to the shoulders. If you've got really strong shoulders, or maybe you have arthritis or anything going on in the shoulders, your arms may not go up as high. So just notice that. Notice, though, that this is not a state of permanence. That here we go. We're going to start to release that down now and recover. Step feet forward into that thunderbolt. Lower those hips back and down. and then come to standing. Beautiful. All right, let's repeat that, shall we? But let's just take a moment to kind of collect ourselves up again. Notice any shifting, changing in the body and the awareness in the breath. I'll breathe out through the mouth. Let it go. And breathe in through your nose if the sinuses are clear. And then out through the mouth for an audible sigh. One more time. Inhaling from the bottoms of your feet. Feel that all the way up to the top of your head. And exhale out. Wonderful. Turn those palms out. Inhale, reach up, coming into that thunderbolt position, dropping those hips back and down. Hands coming to one leg and step the opposite leg back. Hopefully, it's getting a little bit better for your balance. Take those arms back up overhead. We're going to add an extra breath here. So 3 breaths now, pushing down into those feet. What do you notice? Try that as you push down into your feet. How does that feel in your lower body? How does that feel elsewhere? One more deep breath here through the nose if you'd like, and out through the nose if you like. Hands coming back to that leg for support. Step forward, and then hands to the other leg. Step back. Warrior 1. Push down like you're going to push off those feet, and then reach your arms up. Maybe your hands stay onto your leg. That's another option as well. Otherwise, take those arms up. Again, full 3 breaths here. Making some little adjustments, maybe in your back heel as you rotate the toes towards the floor a little bit more. Reaching those fingers up a little bit more for last breath here. All right, and hands to the thigh and step forward. Bend those knees. Thunderbolt or chair, your hands can remain on your legs for support, or you bring your arms up. All right, take it into a forward fold. Maybe your legs go straighter, or maybe they stay bent. And bring the hands to the floor and step both legs back into your plank. Again, maybe it's a high plank. Maybe you'd like to have those knees down on the floor, or maybe your forearms are on the floor. Let's try to stay for one more extra breath here. You might notice a little bit of trembling. I do. So that's just a sign of strength building, right? We got this. Go ahead and bring those knees down. Come all the way down. Hands go back behind you now. Palms can face down or up. Lift your chest, locust pose. Maybe your legs start to lift a little bit as you engage your backside. Lift the shoulders towards the ceiling, a slight tuck of the chin. Lower everything down and turn your head to one side. So we got a massive snowstorm last night unexpectedly. So you might hear the snowplow outside in the background. All right, lifting your head, turning to the other side. All right, come back to center. Push yourself up. And then if it's okay, back into child's pose, you could also do downward dog. Maybe resting your head on the back of the hands. All right, coming up into downward dog. And then walk your feet up towards those hands, forward fold. And bend your knees, look towards the wall, and then rise up to standing. All right, this is where if you have a block or two, you can use them. Of course, you could have been using them all along. But if you'd like to use blocks, I'm going to use my wooden ones, a little bit more visible. So you can have them just kind of right next to your feet there if you're using blocks. Okay, so inhale, let's come all the way up, full extended mountain as we reach up towards the ceiling. Engage the fingers, so you're reaching upwards towards the ceiling. Press down to your feet so you feel the opposite direction, reaching up and pressing down simultaneously. Okay, coming into that chair position. And now you bring the hands to the blocks or to the floor. You're going to step one leg back into that warrior one position, but this time you're going to keep your heel lifted and we're going to move into a balance pose here. So you're going to lift your back leg up off the ground as you straighten your leg. Warrior three, or really a standing L position. So you'll notice my back leg might look like an L with my front. You can have your hands on the floor or the front leg. Okay, let's take that leg back down to the floor. Pause for a moment. Bring your hands to your front leg and then rise up to our warrior one. Arms going out and up overhead for the warrior one. All right, and taking your hands down, step forward and stand mountain pose. Let's extend our mountain as we reach up towards the ceiling or the sky. Push down to the feet, down into the floor. You extend your fingers away from the feet. Press your feet down, away from the fingers, and then come into chair pose. Those hips going back and down as you reach up and forward. Maybe even look at your fingertips. That's a way to remain present. Now bring your hands down to the blocks again and step your other leg back. Lifting your heel, so kind of a little lunge here. And then your hands can move forward with the blocks, or your hands are on the floor, or even a chair. Push into the standing leg and lift your back leg, standing L. You can look forward or look down, but really try to pull up and in as you feel that standing leg. Maybe try this, lift it a little bit higher. All right, wonderful. Step your leg back. Bring your hands to your thigh for support. Press yourself upright. Our last round here, folks. Bring those arms up overhead. Little recovery in our warrior one position. It's hard to think of it as recovery, but it is, right? Not as much effort. And breathe. One more deep breath in here, noticing that resiliency and taking it down. This time we're going to come down to the floor. You can move your blocks off to the sides and come into your downward dog. Come into your plank position. Maybe your knees are down. Push yourself away from the floor, pull up for 2 more breaths. Come to your knees at any time you like. Last breath, and then we'll come all the way down to our stomach. Locust. Those arms go back behind. Your chest lifts. You can add a lift of your legs. And coming down, turning your head to one side. Relaxing your arms and legs and feet and fingers. All right. Stretch your arms forward and come to one side. You're going to roll to that side and bring your top knee into your chest. You can even bend your bottom leg. hold on to your ankle here now and send your knee back in line with your hip. Keep a hold of your shin or ankle and then bring that knee back. Make sure your knee isn't way up. You want to have your knee about hip distance or in line with the hip. And if it would feel okay, so I've got my bottom leg bent, you're going to engage your backside to push your hips forward a little bit more to wake up the front of your leg. Just a nice stretch here for the front of the leg. If it's not accessible to keep a hold of your ankle with your hand, you can always grab a towel real quick. All right, now we're going to take that same leg out in front of us. Bring your bottom arm under and then grab your ankle, calf, or maybe your foot. Bringing your head towards your leg here as you bring your leg towards your head. Head towards leg, leg towards head. All right. Release that. Press yourself up. And let's do the other side. You can start with both knees bent. Out in front, resting your head on your bottom arm or maybe on a cushion, pillow, or towel. Okay, let's do it. Let's grab that top ankle or shin or knee and bring your leg behind you. So what may help here is to roll, once you get a hold of this, is to roll your shoulder back and down. That'll give you a little bit more opening and access. So you get a it's kind of a 2-for-1. You get a stretch in the shoulder as well as that pod of that top leg. Take 2 more breaths here. Notice sensation. That really good quad stretch. Hopefully it's good for you. Yeah, this is a good one, isn't it? Okay. All right. And then bring your leg forward. Your bottom shoulder, arm comes out in front. You can grab your ankle, your foot, or bring maybe your head towards your shin, leg towards head. All right, folks. Let's bring it on to our back. And once you get kind of settled, bring your knees into your chest. Hold on to the back of your legs and lift your head up towards those knees for a stretch in your back, all along your spine. And then lower down. All right, let's do a little bit more stretching for those hips. So you're going to take one ankle on top of the opposite knee. Figure 4. You can stay here or grab through your legs and draw your knees towards your chest. You can get an additional stretch here, if you like, is to straighten your bottom leg. And then an additional stretch is to reach up for your leg and draw your legs towards your chest. Now, that may not be available, right? So we just meet ourselves where we're at, and maybe we stay here. Maybe our foot stays on the floor. It's a good stretch, huh? So you probably notice it in the outer hip, maybe even in your back. So we'll stay here for about 3 more breaths. All right. Is that about 3? Okay. So you'll take that foot to the floor. Before we do the second side, you're going to slide your knees one on top of the other. Okay. So they're still crossed and we're coming into a twist. So you're moving towards the bottom knee and dropping those knees. You can take your arms straight out to the sides. Look in the opposite direction of your knee and your hip. Take about 3 more breaths here. Your back hand can come onto your top hip or knee. Might have to bring the knees up a little higher. And unravel or unwind your legs. Come back to center. Place your feet down and lift. And then bring your knees back into your chest, lifting your head and shoulders up to the knees. And come down. Here we go. Second side. Ankle comes onto the knee for the figure 4, or you draw your knees in towards your chest, maybe straightening up that top leg. So those were your options. And maybe you find one side is a little easier than the other. That's normal, to be expected. The way we're built, we're not perfectly symmetrical, and maybe we favor one side. Maybe we've had an injury or surgery on one side. Lots and lots and lots of different reasons. So we just got to meet ourselves where we're at and notice any judgment that arises or any criticism, self criticism, and just be compassionate with yourself and say that there's always an opposite that arises and that is present, and both we meet with compassion. All right, place that foot down, cross your knees, and lower your knees to the side. Turn your head away from the knees. We'll take 3 more breaths here. Notice any sensations. All right, unwind your legs. This time, come onto your side, whichever side you like. Placing something under your head. Maybe it's your arm, maybe it's a pillow. And while on your side, if it's comfortable, you're going to take one hand and place it under your armpit. And then just kind of crossing the elbows or the forearms here. And just maybe your knees come up a little higher into your chest. Placing that hand under the armpit. And I'll just stay here for a few minutes. So if this is a comfortable position, you can stay on your side. We'll finish with just a little bit of breathing exercise here for the next couple of minutes. If this is not a position that's comfortable, then find another position that is. But if it feels okay to keep that hand underneath the armpit. So once you get settled in, I'd like for you to bring your attention to your nose, just noticing the air coming into the nose. And if you can, maybe even flare your nostrils a little here and notice if one nostril is more open than the other. Maybe even if it's possible to bring in more air into that open nostril by more flare in the nostril. It's kind of a yoga for the nose. And if your sinuses are blocked, then don't stress out about it. Just breathe naturally through your mouth and visualize the air coming in through the nostrils. No need to stress out about it here. So your breathing should be relaxed. Even your tongue is relaxed. Whether you're breathing through your nose or through your mouth, relax that tongue. And we'll take 3 more breaths here. You may have noticed that your sides are also moving with your breath. For 2 more breaths. Last breath in this position, anyways. Good. Of course, you're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. Otherwise, join me in pressing yourself up, coming to a seated, upright position, maybe sitting in a chair or sitting on the cushion. And we'll just take a moment to use this seated posture as an integration, a reintegration back into the rest of our day instead of just jumping up and go getting our chores done. Is that we take this moment to just kind of get back to center. Sometimes the final part of the yoga can make us feel a little like lightheaded, maybe very peaceful, but maybe not really grounded and connected again. So we use this before we move out and kind of leave our brain behind. We just reintegrate back into our body, back into this moment. So if you'd like to place the palms together, you could even bring the fingertips together and noticing your fingers, noticing your hands. And bringing maybe even your hands to your face. You can bring one hand on your forehead, one hand on the armpit or the back of your neck. For 2 more breaths. And release your hands. Well, thanks for being here today and staying with me for this entire lesson today. I really appreciate you as we all do here at Comeback Yoga. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. And please share. Please share this with others. We really appreciate you. All right. Until next time, take good care. See you next time.